Hello, my name is Omid Safi, and I am the founder of Illuminated Tours. And it's my pleasure to share with you a little bit about our program, what we do, and the vision for our program. We have been taking friends to Turkey and Morocco for 21 years now. And it's hard for me to believe, but over the course of that time, we have taken more than 1,000 friends from 20 countries to these two beautiful Muslim destinations. And we're now in the process of adding an Umrah program as well. Over the course of the 20 years, our vision has changed a little bit. We started out as a conventional study abroad program, primarily for university students, North American university students, to be exact. And at some point, it became pretty clear to me that learning and this kind of a deep spiritual, intellectual, artistic immersion is not something that should be limited only to those who are fortunate enough to be at a university. Many of us are lifelong learners. And so our goal has been to have a program that offers both an opportunity to spiritually, intellectually, and aesthetically rejuvenate us. We are unapologetically a program that aims to have a Muslim majority. There's so much of our life that we spend explaining ourselves to other people and answering the questions that are posed to us. There's a time and place for that. And there's also a time and a place to go deep, deep, deep within and to drink from these rich fountains that our tradition has to offer. So when I say spiritually, intellectually, and aesthetically, we take all three components seriously. From the very beginning until now, our program has always featured a majority of female participants. About 75% of our participants are women, and that also creates a different environment. I'd like to think that it is a more collegial and intimate and friendly environment, rather than having someone just shouting facts and even religious instructions at you. There's a lot of silence and space to process ideas. At our best, our program has a contemplative nature. And what I mean by that is that it's easy enough to pick up a guidebook and get a list of the top 10 or 20 sites in a city or a country that one should go visit. And sometimes if you've done that long enough, it all turns into a blur. What was that church, and what was this mosque, and what was that museum, and what did I really see? And we're just going along and checking things off. We try to do things a little differently. And our approach at Illuminated Tours consists of, we walk together. I think there's something to be gained by walking a city. And then we enter sacred sites. Our focus is always on the sacred sites. And we sit in a corner together. And then I usually proceed to offer a 15 to 20-minute lecture on what it is that we are experiencing, something about the history and the spiritual tradition of that specific location. It's important to me that when friends come with us to Turkey, if they were to come again with us to Morocco, that they wouldn't just hear the same thing. When we are in Turkey, I want us to be studying the Turkish Islamic tradition. And when we are in Morocco, I want the figures and the stories to come out of the Moroccan experience. Having something that is indigenous and local is very important to me. I give all the lectures on site. And then after we finished the discussion on site, we will have some contemplation time, 15 to 20 minutes at each site for friends to absorb what it is that they're experiencing. Some people will use it as an opportunity to journal. Some will use it for prayer or meditation, namaz or salat or zikr. Some might want to take pictures, and some may simply want to sit there and absorb their own experiences in light of what we've been able to share with them. We'll then get up and walk together to the next site and the next site. Typically, we might go to about 3 sites a day. In the afternoons, there's usually some free time for people to do reading that are, again, focused on the particular locale that we are visiting. And in the evening time, we gather back up together and have a 1-hour discussion lecture that is focused around the readings and what it is that we would have witnessed on that day. Maybe I can share with you some pictures that give you a sense of what we aspire to do. Our programs are open to everyone, friends of different faith backgrounds, different nationalities. But it's important for me that they also have a very clear Muslim fragrance and Muslim focus as well. So I will, you can always go to Illuminated Tours, and our programs are going to be listed there. And the Turkey program and the Morocco program. In Morocco, I am very grateful to have a co-leader, a wonderful co-leader, Courtney Irwin, who works with me. And since the sacred sites in Morocco are gender segregated, it is essential for us to have 2 equal leaders who can be leading folks in discussion in those 2 contexts. Here we are in Morocco in the tomb of Imam Jazuli, the author of Dalailul Khairat. And one of the things that we try to do is to provide our participants with opportunities to go to places that many tourists do not get to go to. And so here is one of these holy sites, sacred sites. Imam Jazuli is the author of one of the most widely distributed prayer manuals. And not only do we sit and talk about this prayer manual, we also go to Jazuli's shrine. We also network with local Sufis, intellectuals, artists, musicians, so that they get, in some ways, that blend of having someone like myself who's there to offer some lectures, but they also get an opportunity to hear from and learn with our local network of friends. The aesthetic dimension is so important for us. Here you see this extraordinary master of the brass work that you see represented in the tray, the beautiful tray on the right-hand side. So to go to his actual workshop and to get a sense of the model of transmission of master to disciple across the centuries. And many of our participants get an opportunity to try their own hands to figure out just how subtle and delicate this kind of an art is, so that they're not only encountering it in a bazaar or a souk, a marketplace, but actually getting a sense of the tradition that produces such art. We go together to many beautiful Sufi shrines, which are really, in some ways, the rejuvenating heart of the Moroccan experience. And we do break things up by oftentimes spending one night at the very edge of the Sahara. So this is glamping, no doubt. And it gives people an opportunity to get in touch with a pace of life, which is without electricity. But it's probably the best meal that they will have with us the whole trip. Beautifully designed tents and huts, and it's an unforgettable experience. Here's one of those rooms and what it looks like. In Morocco, we stay in the old cities, in the historic Medina, and we avoid chain hotels. We stay in the riad type of accommodation. Riad means garden, and these are the traditional accommodations where the whole house is centered around a courtyard. And it gives you that element of interiority. You come in from the hustle and bustle of the street into the oasis of the home, and you do feel like you've come into the heart. And there's something about that experience of going into the busy street and coming inside that all of a sudden makes that dance between the outward realm and the inward realm really come to life. So here's an example of our evening discussion with some of our participants gathered in the courtyard of one of these riads in Fez. Lots of opportunities for small group bonding. In Turkey, we have a slightly different pace. Turkey is an imperial center. Istanbul, of course, has been an imperial capital for almost 2,000 years. So our group has an opportunity to move through these places, and we are moving towards the spiritual zenith of our Turkish experience, which is a pilgrimage to the shrine of Maulana Rumi. Rumi is the focus of our Turkish tour, and we study Rumi's Masnavi as we go along. So every evening we have a discussion of some of the pages of the Masnavi, as well as the whole Sufi tradition that produces a Rumi. You know, anyone can go inside the Hagia Sophia, and perhaps one can even go on a tour where they tell you that the current Hagia Sophia was finished in the year 537 and so on and so on. We certainly want to make sure that people have a sense of the dates and the history, but more than that, what I try to make sure that our friends come away with are the spiritual jewels and gems that are embodied in these sites. And so for that, one oftentimes has to go much deeper into very specialized types of knowledge that do talk about how the whole experience of being in the Hagia Sophia is to empty the self, to let go of all of the columns, if you would, and the pillars upon which we have based our identity, and instead to carve out this opening which invites the Spirit of God to come rushing in. And those kinds of insights are what many of our friends cherish and they take away from having been on one of our tours. Likewise, when we go to Bursa, to Ulu Jame, I show them how the Ulu Jame was really designed as a labyrinth. It's a labyrinth of Islamic calligraphy. And if you know how to move through this labyrinth, you really come to that experience of everywhere that you look, there is the face of Allah. We end up in Konya, of course, being there to visit this person who was called in his own lifetime the offspring of the soul of the Prophet. And for many of our participants, this is one of the very moving experiences that they come away with. We meet with local Sufi teachers like Jamal Noor, the most famous and important female Sufi teacher in Turkey. And our hope is to begin offering Umrah programs with a similar intimate female majority, and spiritually oriented programs. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to share with you a little bit about what we try to do at Illuminated Tours. We don't try to be the program for everyone. And our hope is that someone who's interested in going deeper, in having a contemplative type of a pace, and to look for the spiritual gems and jewels of each culture distinctly, that they might be a friend that we would love to welcome and to travel together. So if you're interested, get in touch. Our website, you already saw, Illuminated Tours. And I thank you for the opportunity to share with you about this incredible joy that we have to make new friends and to share this experience together. Thank you.